So how are containers commonly used? One way is this concept of run and done. So you have a Docker run command that you execute. This starts the container. Something happens in the container, so an action is performed, and then the container will stop running once this action is complete. Another way is that they run continuously. So you execute the Docker run command, the container will start, and it'll run in the background continuously. Other processes can interact with this container and perform some actions. And the container, one thing to note is the container will keep running unless it is stopped. So for Dockstore, and likely for you as bioinformaticians or software developers, you will be creating the run and done type. So this is your typical workflows where you start off with some input, you perform a few actions, and then you end up with some output. Okay, so now I'll finally go into the meat of the Docker run command. So the first part you'll see is this base command here. So Docker run. The next part is this optional flag. So there's a lot of optional flags, but you don't really need any to run some of the more basic images. But one example you could do is you could use the name flag to specify a name for the container, just to make it easier to reference instead of using an ID. The next thing is the registry name. This registry name, you can think of like a namespace. So if it's from Docker Hub or from Key.io or from Google Cloud or from the Google Container Registry, it'll be here. But one thing to note is it assumes if you don't specify this, that it is from Docker Hub. So if you don't see Key.io or anything like that, it's a Docker Hub image that you're referencing. And then of course you need the path to the image. So this could be something like Ubuntu or SAM tools, which we'll look at soon. And this works for both the official containers, which are blessed by Docker Hub or Docker, and any user containers that are available. And then another thing to add, which is optional, is the version of the image you want to run. So obviously, if you're trying to do reproducible analysis, you'd want to run using the same version of a software. So you can use this tag to ensure that you're using the same version as previous times. And then finally, there's the arguments. And this is what's actually passed to the container. So this is the command you actually want to run, and it'll be run within the container.